Hello everyone, this is Kim Quady with KimPlaysWithPaper.com. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Mesa, Arizona, and today I am going to show you some of Stampin' Up's coloring tools and techniques. I had a request from a customer who was interested in all of the coloring options, and I thought a perfect way to show the coloring techniques was to just do a live about them, and then I will turn it into a post on my blog so that people can see some of the different options. And I think I'm going to cover the biggest options today, but there are always other ways to color as well. Lots and lots of opportunities to color. So good morning, Beth. Thanks for joining me. I will pop the camera down so I can show you what we're working on this morning. Just hang tight here. And we'll make sure that's correct. All right, the stamp set that I chose. Good morning, Joy. The stamp set I chose is Stampin' Up's Beautiful Moments from the annual catalog. This is a nice one that allows for coloring of images. And then the coloring tools you'll find are going to be on pages 144 of Stampin' Up's annual catalog, as well as 146 and 147. The ink and the coloring tools that you need. So I've done a little bit of coloring ahead of time, and then I will do some to just show you how I was working that. So this first one, I stamped the image with Stampin' Up's Memento ink, the Tuxedo Black Memento ink, and I colored this one with the watercolor pencils. Okay. This next, there are very subtle differences, and you'll just have to choose the method that works best for you. Good morning, Brenda. We're talking about coloring tools and techniques today. So this one is stamped with the Memento ink and colored with ink and Stampin' Up's blender pens. This one was also stamped with the Memento ink, and I colored it with the Stampin Blends, the alcohol markers. Good morning, Dawn. This was also stamped in the Memento ink, and I colored it with the Wink of Stella. I'm not sure if you can see the subtle glimmer in there, but that's kind of a technique we forget about. We do use a lot of Wink of Stella to put a glimmer on our images, but we sometimes forget that we can watercolor with it. So then this one was the image was stamped with the Stays On jet black ink, and I colored that with Stampin' Up's water painters. Oh, that's not a water painter. This is the water painter. And I will be showing you that here shortly. And then the last one that we'll be looking at today is that one stamped with Stays On and then colored with just Stampin' Up's Stampin' Right markers. Good morning, Tina. Thanks for popping in. So I will collect all these, and then I'll do a little bit of coloring using each one so you can see what I've done. I've pre-stamped these, and so that I could be all ready to go. Good morning, Deb. How are things? All right. So the first one, I was the Memento and the colored pencils. Now, what I really like about these colored pencils is that, hey, you can scribble. You can scribble. You don't have to fill in the whole image, and you can still make it look really cool. So I'm going to do her dress. Whoops, I want to do the dress in Pacific Point. And I'm just going to start by throwing down some color. And you know, if you are an artist and you know shadows and you know all of that, you could put down, you could put the color where you think that it's going to go best. But with the colored pencils, there are 2 different sets of these in Stampin' Up's catalog. Good morning, Kirsten and Marty. Thanks for popping in. Thanks for sharing. So these are the blender pens. There are two different tips. So once I have the watercolor pencil down, I just use the blender pen and move that color around. And then I can make it as dark or as light as I want. But you can see how that blender pen just blends all that watercolor pencil. And let's do her hair with early espresso. I'm just going to scribble in her hair. Isn't that fun? You can just scribble. You don't have to be perfect. And just use the blender pen there to color in her hair. Good morning, Iris and Sandy. So then you'll notice that the tip does look like it's been used, but I use those. And then to get the color out, you just swipe it back and forth on your grid paper until it's clear. So that was the Memento and the colored pencils. There's a whole, this package has Real Red, Calypso Coral, Pumpkin Pie, Daffodil Delight, Old Olive, Bermuda Bay, Pacific Point, Rich Razzleberry, Melon Mambo, Early Espresso, Basic Grape, Basic Black, and White. So with this set, you should be able to do everything that you need to do. All right, so Monica, thanks for popping in. That's our Memento with the colored pencil. And I will put this on a blog post in the next few days. So if you have any questions, be sure to let me know. You can message me. Message me or ask on this thread. So this next card, we're going to use the Memento and just the blender pen itself with ink. There are several ways to do that. Let's take a peek at our Pacific Point. So with these Stampin' Up's pads, you can squish, 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 and open them up, and inside you'll find this ink. And I had a class this weekend and someone asked, what's all that ink in there? Well, I use that for an ink well, so that I can just dip out the ink that I need and color with. So I'm just going to dip the tip of my blender pen into the ink, and then I can just start coloring. And again, I can put as much or as little ink on there as I want. And I guess the first thing I neglected to tell you was that for all of these samples today, I am using Stampin' Up's shimmery white paper. It works really well for all of these projects. We do carry watercolor paper, and I'm not using that today, but if someone wants me to use that another day, I can do that. But you can see how just dipping that ink into the ink well from your pad works really well, and then I can just apply what I need. Good morning, Nikki. Thanks for popping in. And just to clean that, I'm just, again, going to wipe it until that all runs clear. Let's do her hair real quick. And then hopefully I'll have some time and I can change make all of these cards, all of these images into cards. So with their hair, I'm just going to dip my little blender pen in and give her some brown hair. So it's kind of fun. You know, Stampin' Up! Has 50 different colors, so you can really make anything, almost any color you want. Let's, for funsies, let's do the Old Olive and we haven't done any of the grass yet. So just dip my ink in, and I'm not taking a lot of time, but you know, watercolor isn't perfect. but you can see how that green goes on, and that's a really fun and easy technique using the pad that you have. The other thing that you can use, you can see I have out my re-inkers. Now, whenever someone buys an ink pad, I suggest that you buy the re-inker to go with it. Not only to re-ink the pad after lots and lots of use, but you can use it for your watercoloring projects. So I just put a little bit of the Pacific Point ink on here, and I could also, I'll clean that off. I think I do have the Old Olive on here, so I can dip my Old Olive in from there too, and use the that ink refill as my palette. So that's that option. That's that option there. So again, just that's why I do really like the blender pens, because it gives you so many possibilities. Whatever ink refills and pads you have, you can color anything. Chris, thanks for popping on. So we've done the Memento and the blender pens, and the Memento and the color pencils. All right, let's move on to the Memento and the Stampin Blends. These are Stampin' Up's alcohol markers, and they just color really so nicely, but you can tell the difference in how it colors, and you'll just have to decide for yourself which technique you like the best. So let's color her dress, and I've picked out Rich Razzleberry. The blends are $9. The Stampin' Blends are $9 for the pack, and you get a light and a dark. Thanks, Joanna, for watching and sharing. I really appreciate it. I know I'm hooked on Stampin' Up too. It's a really good thing. So let's do her dress with Rich Razzleberry, and there are lots of shading and coloring techniques, and I'm not going to. Everybody has their own way of doing it, so I will show you how I do mine. I usually put the dark down first. But you'll find that people put the light down first. It doesn't matter. And actually sometimes I just color because I like to color. I was thinking, remember when we were little kids and we had those just coloring books, and on our Christmas wish list was that great big box of crayons with all the colors. I just think that that was just something so fun. I just coveted that. I don't know how many crayons were there, 50 in there. So I put down the dark, and there are two tips, a soft, a brush tip and a hard tip. And again, you just play with whatever you want. They're really, there are no right or wrong answers. It's whatever works for you, and whatever, there are some certain, like for the Stampin' Blends, yes, you need to use the Memento ink. And it helps to use this shimmery white paper or the white cardstock, but the shimmery white gives it a little shimmer. And so you can see I'm just using little circles and blending in. I colored along the lines of her dress. You can see I just colored over the flowers, but we can go over that as well. And then I had a soft suede for her hair, and I'm just going to use the light, and so it gives a different effect with every different coloring technique. You could spend a whole class on each of these separate techniques and still not cover all the things, all the little options, but this just is something to get you started, like if you like the adult coloring books. All right, let's move on to one of the ones that sometimes I forget about. Good morning, Carolyn. This is Memento with the Wink of Stella. Wink of Stella is our glimmer brush, and it's $8, and it on top of my shimmer paper, I'm going to add some more glimmer. And oftentimes we'll just put the Wink of Stella on top of like a flower or a butterfly that we've already colored. So if I just add my Wink of Stella, it'll give my butterfly, it'll give it some shimmer and glimmer. But did you know it can also be used as a watercolorer? So I am actually going to use the ink that I have put on my little block. And I'm going to just dip that in here. And in fact, I put that ink on here yesterday, and it's still there. So that I can just apply that ink to my image, and she's got a shimmery dress. I sometimes like to do this. There was a stamp set that we had with a lady with a dress and a hat, and I like to give her a dress and fancy dress at night. It's fun. It's kind of like playing with your paper dolls. You can do anything you want. Fun to go back to being a kid and coloring, and I never colored inside the lines when I was a kid, and I still don't as an adult. But I don't know if you can see that, but there's just a little bit of shimmer to that too. And so again, this cleans just like the blender pens. You just flick it till it's clean, and then you can move on into the colors. And here's my, I had my old olive re-inker. It probably would, but just color she's frolicking in some field of green here. So this is your memento using that Wink of Stella. So I'll just clean that out a little bit and move on to the next one. I know I'm running through these pretty quickly, but I do like to keep these at 20 minutes to a half an hour so you can get on with your day. So the next one is the Stays On, the black. Now that's a permanent black ink. So this is the kind where I wouldn't stamp and then like have my white pants on. That would be a bad idea. But here's my Stays On with the water painter. Oh, did you also notice I use that Stitch with Whimsy die? I'm kind of hooked on that. So now for the next couple of weeks, everything I make will be with that Stitched with Whimsy die. Good morning, Sue. Thanks for popping in. All right, so the water painters, that's where we'll use, you could use the well of your pad, or you can use the block with the re-inker on it. I think I'm fine. So these are new pens. The new. So you just oops. That's there. It is filled with water, and pull that off, and they come 3 in a package. So you just again dip your brush in the ink. And you can make it as dark or as light. You can pull it out as you want and just color away. And you can see the water is pooling there a little bit. And it gives you a more watercolor look than the others, but that's why they're called aqua painters and all of that. And that's if I used watercolor paper, and I do have some, I just haven't gotten it out. The shimmery white is just so easy to use. So, and then you can go back and add more color. Look at how that just splurges out like that. So, and then let that dry, and you'll have, a card base to use, with that. So you can just tell it's just a little bit different than all of the others. And again, these clean off just like the other ones. You just flick until it comes out clear. Sometimes I'll have a paper towel by me so I can squeeze out the water, but you really don't have to squeeze very hard with these. In fact, I don't squeeze it all. The water just kind of comes popping out, and there's 3 different brush tips on those. So that was our Stays On with our water painter. So the Stays On is the black permanent ink. So it makes sure that nothing, the black ink doesn't bleed when you watercolor with it. All right, the last one that I was going to show you today is the Stays On with the Stampin' Right markers. And we have a Stampin' Right marker for every color of Stampin' Up's stamp pads coordinating. And that's what I love most about Stampin' Up is the ink matches the paper, matches the ribbon, matches the markers, so that you can be successful in any of your stamping endeavors. So again, I have my Pacific Point out, and there are two tips, a little tip and a big tip. I'm guessing that there are some, good morning, Veronica, there are some specific terms for that, but I call it the little point and the big point, or the big tip. And this just colors like a marker. So you know, if you have the opportunity to grab any of these and play with them, there is free shipping tomorrow, March 17th. So that might be a good way to get on orders of $50 or more before tax and shipping. So that might be a way to try some of these. Now the Stampin' Right markers are sold in color families, so you would get the all of the brights or all of the neutrals, all of the regals. And let's color her hair with our early espresso. So you can see it goes on nice. I like these for smaller images because sometimes when you get a big image, it might be a little bit harder to color. The other thing that these are really good for are coloring right on the stamp. Here I was working on some St. Patrick's Day stuff, so I have this all inked up. So happy St. Patrick's Day. So say that I wanted this to be green, blue, green. So I could color with my marker right onto my stamp. So I've got happy, I'll do happy and day. Let me show that to you. I don't know why I would want blue, but I'm just kind of showing you how that works. So the versatility of the markers, you can do a lot of different things with it. And then put down just brush on that blue. Sometimes it might take a little huff to keep that ink moistened. And then when you stamp, you've got green, blue, green. So the markers are good for that technique as well. So that was a sprint tour through all of the most of the different coloring techniques. We still have sponging and brayering and all of those to color with, but these are mostly the basic coloring techniques. The Memento with the colored pencils, the Memento with the blender pens and the ink, Memento with Stampin' Blends. And we don't have, there aren't all of the colors aren't available, so we just, but they do come in a 2-pack, a light and a dark for blending. People do some amazing things with that. The Memento with the Wink of Stella that we sometimes forget about. And Memento with our Stampin' Right markers. And I think there's one more, but it has fallen off the table. The Memento with the watercolor, And gosh, we've just been working here. I don't know where it ran off to, but anyway, that is our coloring tools and a few quick techniques for today. Thanks so much, everyone, for popping in. And next week I'll be back at 8:30. Now when we're in Pacific even though Arizona didn't change times, we are more aligned with Pacific time than anything. So pop in and see what I've got going. If you have a special request or something, a stamp set or a technique that you want to see, give me a holler. I'd love to help. Good morning, Zach. Thanks for popping in today. Thanks so much, everyone. Have an awesome week. And let me know if you have any questions in the comments or message me separately. You can find me on kimplayswithpaper.com. Thanks, everyone. Have a good one. Bye-bye.